I'm Dayna J. Francois, and you're listening to Stirring the Plot. Whether you're gay, hot, or doing it for the plot, this is the podcast for you. I'm here and I'm queer. She's an ally who slays. Please welcome one of my homies going all the way back to childhood days. Please welcome this week's guest, one of my closest friends, Emmana Jules.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast. You made it. You're here.
Thank you so much. Finally, I've been waiting my turn patiently.
It's time. It's the time, the moment like we've all been waiting for is here.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me on this episode.
No, I'm so excited. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Emma and I literally go back, like hella back, like funny story back. Like our moms were homies before we were even thought of. Emma and I were both adopted from Haiti, and also toss in our third island sister, that's Chloe. All three of us were adopted from Haiti, little island babies, and our moms met during that process, like the adoption process. Before we were even really thought of, they connected. I think their souls jumped out at each other and they became best friends. And then obviously Emma came home, then I came home, then Chloe came home, and through all that process our moms still stuck thick as thieves together, best friends. And naturally Chloe, Emma, and I, all our souls jumped out at each other too, and we became best friends, and the rest is history. And here we are, you know, more than 2 decades later.
I know, it's so crazy. And like the crazy thing is we've never lived in the same state. Yeah, Dana's in Arizona and Chloe and I were in California, and our friendship has lasted 2 decades over like 300 miles apart from each other.
That's beautiful, honestly. Like, and that just shows that like true friendship can like stand the test of time, can break any distance. Like, we've seen each other through all phases of life. Like, they've seen me at my absolute fucking worst, love me regardless of that. And I'm so thankful for you and for our friendship, and I don't know who I would be or where I would be like without you. So
thank you so much. And Dana, she is so like inquisitive, and she'll tell you straight up how it is. Like, she's a little shy at first, like getting to know her and stuff, but after probably like 5+ years you'll finally get to know the real her, and just like how she cares about her friends and family so deeply, and like nothing's gonna like slip by her. And if she feels like she needs to be the voice of reason, she's going to be the voice of reason for you. Because, you know, my sister and I, sometimes we're a little crazy. You know, but she keeps us grounded. Yeah, it's just a great friendship. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, but we always come back to each other.
absolutely.
And I just think our story is so beautiful. Anybody that we tell, they're like, what the heck? How have you guys like been friends for multiple decades?
Yeah.
And you guys have never lived in the same state. And we're just like, well, we used to do like Haiti reunions when we were younger. So those were all the adopted kids and families. We would all get together in Arizona, I believe.
Yeah.
And we would stay the weekend. And I think it was like a great outlet for all of us Haitian kids to be around each other.
Absolutely.
And then that kind of like ceased to exist, I think, after like the first few years.
Yeah.
But Dana and I, and like her family and my family, we just continue to see each other and be there for each other during like every single like instance that we went through in our lives.
Yeah.
So it's like they know that they can call on us if they need support, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
So I think that's just like a beautiful friendship, and we're honestly just family. Like we're the island sisters.
Absolutely.
And no one can tear us apart.
No, absolutely. They are my sisters. I am blessed to have them in my life. They're just the type of people that, like, I know at the end of my story, like, they're gonna be right there telling the stories with me, you know? I know, like, on my wedding day, they're gonna be standing up with me at the front, and vice versa. I'll be right there, too. And I just love, like you said, I love the beauty that our story holds, and I love the relationship that, like, our family has with each other, because, like, your mom's like my mom, like, you know what I mean? And, like, obviously, too, for me, like, obviously having lost my mom, like, at a young age, being able to have, like, your mom is, like, I feel, like, blessed to have, like, had like another person that I just can go to and just love, and who loves me unconditionally too. So like feel blessed for that, and I always love your mom. So
oh, we love you.
But I'm really excited to have you on the pod today. And what's cool is that like you're one of the most interesting people like I've ever met, and I mean that in quite a few different ways. But what I do love is that you are resilient as fuck, and you've lived so many lives and so many different stories. There's so many different versions of Emma, so many different versions of Emmana, and I love that, and I want the listeners to get a little peek inside that today. But before we jump into anything too crazy, why don't you let them know your pronouns, your sexuality, let them know what's up, like introduce yourself.
So my pronouns are she, her, hers. My sexuality is straight. Oh yes, I'm currently in a relationship for like, we've known each other for just over a year, but like official since December. So that's
Nice.
going good.
Yeah.
And then I'm currently in school.
There you go.
I just finished my prereqs for nursing school, so I will be applying to nursing school in the fall for spring.
Big
And
ups.
then, yeah, I know, crazy. And then I also work full time as a CNA.
Yes.
So I do that, and then I also teach dance classes. I teach ballet to children. So
And that's amazing too, because for those of you who don't know, before she picked up her scrubs, Emma donned some ballet shoes, like literally, and you were a professional ballet dancer for many years. So you want to like, tell us just a little bit about that, how that experience was, because you grew up like from childhood, growing up always dancing, and then your ballet career kind of just took off from there, which is amazing, and it's been cool to see that watching you over the years.
Yeah, so basically I came home from Haiti and I had a lot of energy and I was just bouncing off the walls. So my mom was like, she has so much energy. We need to put her in like an activity or a sport. And then I have an older sister and she actually got a job at the local dance studio.
Yeah.
And so my sister said to my mom, why don't we put her in ballet classes? So I did like the little ballet tap combo classes, and then I just kept doing it for years to come. So I danced in like all styles for probably 15 years.
Yes.
So until I was 17, and then I kind of switched to ballet. I started focusing on that when I was 17, and then I got my first contract at 19, South Carolina. Yeah, I was in that company, and you guys can research this later.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. Oh my god. This is crazy, guys.
Oh my gosh. It's so crazy because I'm 26 now and I was a part of that company only for 3 months when I was 19. I was a part of this company. It seemed like all hunky-dory, and then we got there, me and like the other dancers that they had hired. Oh, guys, it was a complete fraud. We were scammed, okay? And
that is for sure.
yeah, we were scammed, like, it was crazy. And then I ended up, like, leaving probably 3 months after I got there. I moved back home. And then turns out that the owners, because it was a partner, it was like a husband and wife, she ended up murdering her husband. So that's cool, I guess. But guys, it was, like, so crazy. Like, they were just not the best people.
Also, like, I want to put emphasis, this is when she was dancing in Charleston, and we went and we visited her. Chloe and I went to visit her when she was dancing there, and literally I think we got there, it was the first day, we get to her apartment and we're gonna go down and we're gonna go to like the store or something, and Emma's like, yeah, it's not that far, we're gonna walk. So we step outside her apartment complex and we're gonna walk to the store that's like down the road or whatever, and a truck drives past us full of some white teens, because at the time, yeah, Emma was 19, I was 18, Chloe was 17, like we were all young. So a truck of like teens, white teens, these little southern hicks, drove past us in their pickup truck, all wearing KKK hoods, and we had been there all of 5 seconds, and we said,
I do not remember.
you don't remember that? Girl, we turned the fuck around and we went right back into that apartment complex and said, yeah, let's call an Uber maybe, because 3 black girls just walking outside an apartment and a white truck full of KKK hooded fuckheads drive past us. You don't remember that? I remember being gagged, and then you were like, that's Charleston for you. I was like, girl.
But crazy stuff happened there. It was like, you got there and it looked like such like a nice place because it was the city, so obviously there was like a lot of restaurants and different establishments, but like overall, like a lot of the people were vacationing, but it was like still all like white southern people because that's the bordering states and stuff. But yeah, like the people there were just very interesting. I did not have a good time. I'm so thankful I left.
That's crazy. And what's super crazy is you dance with several companies, and her being out of state too started our little tradition that we did for a while there, where we started spending every Thanksgiving together, because we were like, we don't know where Emma's gonna be this Thanksgiving. And so wherever she was at, whatever ballet company she was dancing with, Chloe and I booked a flight there, and we got to kind of explore some cities while she was dancing, and it was really fun to start doing our little Islanders Thanksgiving tradition.
Yeah, that was like so much fun, and I don't know, I feel like it was so nice because I wouldn't come home that often. So I think I would only come home for like Christmas break. I usually wouldn't come home for like spring break because tickets were really expensive.
Yeah.
So it was so nice having Chloe and Dayna come out and spend, I think, 3 days with me.
Yeah.
And then we would make like Thanksgiving dinner and stuff. Because the thing is we don't really give a fuck about Thanksgiving.
No.
Like, and our families too much. So it was like, that was like,
why glorify genociders? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Colonizers.
So it's like, that was like the perfect holiday to just be like, okay, bye family, we're gonna go hang out with friends.
Exactly. No, it's like, that's what it is at the end of the day. Is like, for me personally, looking at like holidays, it's like more about the people in your life, that you care about the most. And so being able to like spend that with my two best friends.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we had to take a little hiatus because of COVID. But we are going to be back doing our Islanders Thanksgiving trip.
I know, we're finally back, baby. Like, it's been too long, and I'm so excited that we're gonna be doing it. And this year we get to go check out Michigan, because that's where Chloe's doing her grad there. And so it's super cool that she's gonna show us the city. Well, I guess multiple cities, but
and another country.
No, literally, yeah, we're gonna probably get up into Canada, which will be fun. Working and going to school full time. Emma, what's up?
Oh gosh, so much. My blood pressure.
I'm dead as fuck. No, for real. What's up? My scheduled appointment for therapy. That's what's up.
Yeah, I like started a new job at this hospital. I kind of was like bouncing around. I tried to chase the like registry dream of like getting the bag. That didn't work out. I was not getting the bag. Okay?
Yeah. No, for real.
It was like horrible, guys. I literally, oh wow, this is a lot of money for a shift. And then they were like, oh, we're just not gonna work you for like 3 weeks. And I was like, what? I have bills. And they were like, oh, one shift this week, no shifts for a month.
Nah, for real, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. So I finally got like a staff job at a hospital. It's okay. It's not as busy as what I'd like it to be, because I think I was really blessed with my first ever hospital job. It was really busy. There was like a lot of cases. I learned a lot. And the nurses were very helpful with different like disease and how to do different like skills and procedures, I guess. And this one, all the nurses are just very lazy, okay? So that's how that's going right now. And then also school, I am actually doing 2 classes for like a public health science degree, because all my nursing classes actually count towards that degree except for 2. So I was like, oh, I'll just take 2 classes fast track, get them over with, and then yeah, that's what I'm doing in the meantime. So hopefully by next year I'll have my associates and I'll be in nursing school, and it's just been a long time coming.
Once you're officially in nursing school, how long is that?
So it depends on the program. The nursing school I'm trying to get into is 15 months.
Okay.
And it's a BSN. So that's the one I mainly want to go to, but there's that program, but then there's also some like LVN programs that I'm going to apply to, which those are, I think, 12 months, so a year. And then there's like ADN programs that I'm going to apply to, which are 2 years. And then typically BSN programs are 2 years to 3 years. So it really just depends on what school I get into.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with whatever option, just as long as I'm moving towards my goal of getting my RN license.
Yeah.
And I do eventually want to get my BSN.
And tell the listeners what area of specialty you're most interested in.
Okay, so right now as a CNA, I work in telemetry and like med surge, kind of. They're like combined. I don't like either of those.
Yeah.
units.
Can you break down for the people who don't know what that is?
Oh yeah, sure. So med surge is basically just patients that have medical problems. So that's like people that have diabetes, people that have those like medical problems specifically, where telemetry is they will have like medical problems along with heart condition problems.
Okay.
Yeah, so telemetry is all heart monitoring. So you have the electrodes that are placed on your heart. So I think with telemetry, it's more fast paced because you're having to deal with a lot of different diseases.
Yeah.
Along with conditions. And I think it's just like so interesting because some people, they can have like cirrhosis of the liver and then also hypertension. And then you have to obviously do the meds for both those things. And I think it's just very interesting having to like balance a lot of different specialties and like knowledge in
absolutely.
one patient for one shift. I think I want something that's more like one-on-one and specialized. So I'm thinking maybe like ICU or surgery. But then I'm also thinking that I want to do outpatient because I've already now been in bedside like a year and a half, and bedside is hard. It's not for everyone. I'm thinking that if I get my bachelor's and then go on to get my master's, so like my NP, I might want to work in like a dermatology office.
Ooh.
And yeah, because I feel like growing up I had like a lot of acne and like hyperpigmentation, and I really loved going to the dermatologist. I love doing like the peels and having different dermatologists like specify what medication I needed to take versus what a primary care doctor like thought I needed. So I thought that was cool, and I don't know, I've been in and out of the dermatology office, so I'm just like, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Or maybe like mother baby, because
Okay.
I don't want to do labor and delivery. I think like seeing a birth is kind of
like horrifying.
Yeah, I'm.
Everyone's like,
so
no, everyone says it's like the most beautiful thing ever. I'm like, don't lie. Don't lie.
Literally.
You're literally in a war zone. And you gotta think quick on your feet when you're the doctor. And yeah, that just seems terrifying and scary.
Yeah, so I'm not about that, but I think taking care of the babies.
Once they're clean, don't have the jelly on them.
Yeah.
Here's the thing for me. Sometimes it's like, it's stressful, especially for us, like on top of it too. We're working, but then we have school too. And so that leaves like little kind of time for us. And I'm a big advocate for myself and telling myself like, I need to have a really good work-life balance or else I'll just be miserable. So for you, like, have you been taking the time? I know that you've been really like doing stuff recently, which is really fun and cool. And it's been fun to watch you like go on these trips and all this kind of stuff. So if you want to tell the listeners a little bit about how you incorporate a nice like work-life balance into your life.
So I'm trying to get better about it because I think for like the last 4 months I wasn't busy at all. Like I had finished my prereqs for nursing school, and then I also was trying to chase the bag.
Yeah.
The bag wasn't coming. So I was really like not doing anything for like a long time.
Yeah.
So that's when I was able to like go to the gym more, went on a cruise.
You went to Vegas.
Yeah, did go to Vegas. I went to 2 weddings in Vegas that were literally just, one was on the 19th and then one was on the 20th of April. So I went to 2 weddings, I did a cruise. That all also kind of like stems from like my relationship because he's someone that likes to fill his time with a lot of things, and he's very close to his family. Like he has a pretty big family and he's very close to his cousins.
Yeah.
Where my family, it's like honestly just like the siblings.
Yeah.
And my parents, so I'm not close to any of my cousins. You know, they live further away. You know, there's different things also as to why I don't speak to like a lot of them.
Absolutely.
But so with him, like he's very involved with his family, and then he's also like incorporated me into it. So I'm doing a lot more things like with him and his family, which has been fun. But like now, since I like hit the ground running, I started work like on Sunday, and then I started school on Monday, and then I started the teaching job on Tuesday. So like
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Triple homicide.
So that's been going like that's been going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I was recently just talking to Dayna and my sister actually just a few days ago about like feeling like on the verge of a mental breakdown.
Absolutely. It's a lot at once, a lot of change at once.
Exactly. And it's just like I used to see my boyfriend every day because I wasn't doing anything, and now I can only see him sometimes once a week, you know, which that's like a big jump. And then like, you know, some of like my other friends, they're also doing school or they're working, so it's like I don't really have anybody that I can go to the gym with or that I really like go and get my nails done with. I do have this one friend, Rachel, and we do actually like do pedicures and stuff like maybe once a month. together. So like that's an outlet, but that's like an outlet that I like. And then I also like going to the gym or just taking walks. I like going on sometimes like 2 mile walks, just to like clear my head. And to be by myself, I'll listen to like some of my favorite podcasts, and I'll just be like, boom, 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 like fast walking skis.
She'll just be up in the gym listening to Stirring the Plot Pod.
And then I also like reading. Dayna helped me out with this one.
Yes.
Because she's a book girly. I'm a book girly too. I sometimes I'm like on and off.
Yeah. It's fun to talk books. It's fun to talk books with you, and it's fun whenever like there's been times where like I recommend you a book, and I love like when people read books that I recommend to them, but then there's times that Emma's recommended books to me and I read them and I'm like, holy fuck, this was so good. Like you did that with me for like The Wife Upstairs. Like, you know. But yeah, we love to read, and so that's really fun. And Emma also loves to get her nails done. Her boyfriend's in a band, so she goes to listen to like them play, and she loves to have like a little cute happy hour drink moment. She loves to go shopping. What else do you like to do with that work-life balance?
You know, all those things. Gosh, I forgot who I was for a second.
Well, that's why I'm here, just to remind you who the fuck you are, and that's on period.
Yes, all those things I do like to do. Like she said, my boyfriend's in a band, so he does open mic night. So I'll go to those like once a month. And then with my friend Rachel, we hang out on Mondays, and we'll usually do like a happy hour, play some pool. Her boyfriend is in the same band as my boyfriend, and our boyfriends are really good at playing pool. We decided, we're like, let's hang out on Mondays and play pool.
Yeah.
Like, so we can get better and beat our boyfriends at pool. So that's what we've been doing, and I'm kind of like
getting good.
Getting better.
Okay, period.
Like, yeah, like dust off the shoulder. Okay.
Honestly, when we go to Michigan, we should find like a cute, like not too scary dive bar. I like to go to a little dive bar moment, but like not whenever I'm like scared. Like one that maybe like men won't like approach us.
Yeah. No, I'm down to.
Well, you know what's crazy? So, and if it's okay if I segue us into this, you can tell me if you don't want me to, but
oh gosh, I'm scared.
No, what's crazy is Emma did like she was very just like focused on her dance career for a long time, and so she did like kind of jump into the dating scene like a little bit later, right?
So late, guys, like 23.
Yeah, a little bit later, like, and that's when you like, you know, started like going on the apps and like navigating dating and like this and that and doing dates and all that kind of stuff. And you've been in like a couple of relationships, but you've also experienced like some crazy dating shit. And I mean, if you're open to it, you want to do like can we do a quick little deep dive into there?
Yeah, so you gotta jog my memory because I don't remember those motherfuckers.
I'm fucking dead. She blocked the fuck out of them. So for a while, and this was like obviously pandemic for a while too, which was really fun. It was because I think she kind of really started like right before it happened, like the pandemic. Is that was like kind of what like began her feral behavior. All of a sudden she woke up one day and she was like feral as a motherfucker. She said, I don't know if maybe my point shoes are a little too tight, but something in me has stirred and awoken, and like I am H-word like a motherfucker. So, which I loved, and it was entertaining to me because I was spiraling as a motherfucker during that time. So I loved a nice little story time moment, so I didn't have to focus on myself and I could like listen to her stories, and it was really fun. And there was a while right before the pandemic broke out when this bitch and I would be on FaceTime every fucking night, literally, because I was like just living at home. I wasn't doing jack shit, like, you know. She would just keep me entertained for hours and hours about her fucking dates with these fucking weirdos in the South, because she was living in the South too. She was dating these Southern men. Like, it was crazy. And
that's all that there was.
And yeah, like it was when you started going out to the clubs, and so we had some weirdos. We had fucking, so there was the rich boy with the movie theater on the lake or whatever, Wee U, which is a fun story time. And there was G-Eazy, there was Pina Colada, and then Brian Ryan.
Dude, you're exposing me.
Girl, that was fun as fuck. To listen to all these stories. Is there anyone that sticks out particularly that you want to share with the class?
Maybe G-Eazy, because that person was a psycho. I think the rest of them were just like kind of normal people. Like they just like respected like me not wanting to see them again. But G-Eazy was crazy because he really looked like G-Eazy.
He really did.
He was probably like a whole foot shorter than him. But I remember like I was like talking to him on the apps, and then I was like, well, me and my friends were going to the like, if you want to come, because this was like my club phase. I went out to the club, I think, like 4 times a week.
Oh, she was crazy. This bitch was out at the club 4 times a week. I was like, bitch, I'm tired for you. I'm literally fucking tired for you. Like, that's crazy. Because also, what you guys need to know too is, like, obviously Emma, like me, we grew up religious with, like, you know, strict parents. And, like, me saying strict parents isn't even anything, because honestly, my mom was not strict. Like, but I was, like, you know, grew up religious, and I was, like, in that, like, kind of world for a long time. Like, she was too, but, like, her parents were a lot more strict than, like, my mom ever was. And so when that bitch moved the fuck out of the house, homegirl flourished, because she was like, oh wait, I can do, like, whatever the fuck I want. So if that means I'm gonna go to the club 4 times a week, it's like crazy. She was at the club every fucking day. I was like, bitch, how are you not fucking tired? I'm tired for you. And then yeah, she was literally out. She would come home fucking 4 a.m. every night, and then bitch would call me, and that was when I was on my string of fucking all-nighters. Like, I never slept. My insomnia was so bad. So this bitch would call me at 4 a.m. I'm up answering, hello, what's up, what's going on? She said, so you're not gonna believe what happened at the club tonight. I was like, okay, period, tell me.
No, it was so crazy because in Oklahoma, like, I danced 5 or 6 days a week. It just depended on, like, rehearsals. But I would dance from 9 a.m. to, like, 5:30 p.m. Then I would go to work from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then I'd go to the clubs from, like, 11 p.m. to, like, 3 a.m.
That's crazy. And let's keep in mind, she was dancing, and then she went to the club and was dancing. Like, girl, sit down maybe for a couple minutes. Maybe just, like, sit down, rest your feet.
I literally cannot believe, like, I used to do that. But basically, this guy, G-Eazy, I was like, yeah, we're going to go to the club. Like, you can come join us or something. And then he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, can I bring my friend? And I was like, oh, what friend? And he's like, oh, like, this girl, like, we, like, work together or something. She doesn't know anyone. So, like, if your friends are going to be there, like, maybe she can meet them and stuff and, like, have friends in the city. I was like, that's fine. I was like, but just so you know, like, you're going to be paying attention to me.
Emma's also, for you guys, just so you know, the fucking sassiest motherfucker I've ever met in my whole life. So there's that.
Yeah, I would just say whatever to, like, men.
She did not give a fuck. Which, like, period, queen. Here's your crown. Here's your fucking crown.
So I said that to him, and he's like, well, yeah, of course. I was like, okay, cool. Like, we're getting there around, like, midnight. Okay, so then he comes, the girl's there and stuff, and he's just like, oh, like, you look great. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, give me a drink, okay? So he gets her a drink, he gets me a drink. Whatever. He got me a drink. I didn't really care. Anyway, we're, like, dancing up on each other. Oh, he was my first kiss, I think.
Really?
I think he was dancing, you know how people dance at the clubs, okay? And then we're, like, making out and stuff, and I was very, like, not experienced. At this point, I was 21. Never had my first kiss. Obviously, I've never had sex, like, none of that. I was just grinding. Like, I didn't know what else to, like, really do. But anyways, like, we were just, like, making out and stuff, and then he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, you know.
I came in my pants.
And I was like, what? He's like, I gotta go. And he was like, I don't know, I think he was like in his like late 20s. And I was just thinking in my mind, I'm like, don't you like need to be like masturbating or something to like have that happen? Like, how was like just like grinding and like making out? Like, how did that's like weird.
Yeah.
So like
he bust a nut because she was throwing ass. Like, that's crazy.
And, like, I remember I was just like, like, I don't know, he's kind of weird, and like he got like his like friend like another drink, not me once. I was like, I'm not about you. And he kept like wanting, like, after like that night and stuff, he kept like wanting to meet up. He was like, yeah, he's like, I can come over, like this and that. And I just was not feeling him. I was just like, no, I don't really want you to. Like, I never gave him my address. He didn't know where I worked or anything.
Yeah.
And then I remember, like, he got like crazy. He was just like, oh, he's like, I'm gonna like fuck you up, like, da-da-da-da.
Whoa.
Like,
yeah.
He was like weird. Like, he was just like
scary.
Oh, like I know you live in like apartments, probably like close by to like, you know, the club or something like that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, thank goodness this man like never came to my place, because I was like, clearly when he doesn't get something that he wants, he turns into like a menace.
Yeah, he was literally like scary.
So I feel like he stood out to me the most because that whole situation at the club, like, that was weird. How could you forget that?
Yeah.
And then also the aftermath of that, of like being upset that I like didn't want to see him.
No, literally.
So yeah, like, I don't know, he like stood out to me the most. And then there was just like random guys like I would talk to, kind of see for like a month or so, and nothing ever like long term, because I did not give a fuck about people there. Like,
yeah,
they were all just so blah. that was that. It was a great time. Like, my mom didn't know anything.
Right. She was free to do whatever the fuck.
Like, I could come home, obviously, at 4 or 5 in the morning, and no one was like, oh, you're coming home all this and that. And I just came home, I went to bed, and then I woke up in, like, 4 hours and then went to dance.
Crazy. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that was funny. Obviously the rich boy on the lake was funny.
Oh my gosh, that was scary.
That was scary, yeah. Especially too because she was out there for a hella long time, and Chloe and I obviously was seeing that because we're like, she's on a date, so we're watching her location. We see this bitch's location for hours, and it's pinned in a lake. And so Chloe and I are like, so do we need to catch a flight right now and like go like get her from the lake right now? Like, what's going on? She's literally like, is she like literally at the bottom of the lake right now? We were concerned as fuck.
Yeah, this was like my first ever date I had been on. The girls that I roomed with, they also had my location, and very like gentlemanly, you know, for the most part. He came like pick me up, which I don't even know why I got in his car to begin with. But
yeah, crazy.
I know, he picked me up. I don't know, we went to downtown area, and then he was like, he was like telling me though from the jump, he was like, I am not like paying for like a dinner date. I'm not paying for food. Like, we're just hanging out. And I was just like,
oof.
Okay. And so then,
gross.
I know. And so then he was like, yeah, I need to go to the bathroom. Like, let's go to IHOP. And I was like, oh, maybe like we'll get some food. And then he asked me, he's like, do you want to munch on some pancakes? And I was like, it's fine. Like, I said no because it's just like when someone tells you like 15 times, like, I'm not paying for anything. Like, I don't blah blah blah. Like,
exactly.
Like, is this a trick question?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. So I was just like, no, it's fine. And then he was like, okay. He's like, well, like, let's go by this like lake.
You're like, right. Right.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, because like I had been there before, and this is probably around like, I think we got there like not too late. I think it was like 10:30 or something like that. And we're just like sitting by the lake, like just talking, which was so weird to begin with. And we're there for like a couple hours, and then I get a call from my sister, and he's like, do you need to answer that? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then she was like, Shadi, it's saying that you're in the water. Are you okay? And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, we're just parked by the lake. She's like, okay. So
no, because like Chloe and I are texting each other like, what the fuck do we do?
Literally, we see these cop lights
right
pull up, okay? And this is, I think it was December, or no, it was January. It was January in Oklahoma, so it's cold out there.
Right.
This like cop lady comes and she's like, oh, like what are you guys like doing out here? And we're like, oh, like we're just on a date or something. And then she was like, whose car is this? Like, where do you guys live? It was like really weird, and he was like driving his mom's car, and she was like, oh, what are your addresses and socials? And I know, so crazy, but like obviously me, I'm like, okay, let me just like be nice, just give them what they want.
Let me give them what they want because I am black.
Exactly, okay, and this guy was white. So I was naive at this point, but I felt a little safer that he was white and I was black, because I was like, okay, at least like he could at least talk to them,
right?
Them being like just infuriated right from the jump, I guess.
Right.
I don't. That's kind of stupid.
It's just
whatever.
no. It's what we have to think about though, honestly, which is sad.
Yeah. And so then he's like, I don't know the address. He went to school like out of state, and his family moved when he was gone. So he had only been to that house like a couple of times. So he's like, I don't have the address and stuff. And so then he had like look in the car, okay, the GPS and stuff. And she was gone for like a long time. And then she like asks him to get out of the car. She's like, you can stay in the car. And I was like, okay. He gets out of the car and he puts his hands in his pockets. This is it. This is where I died. And this cop can just throw our bodies in the lake.
Oh
easy,
my god.
Easy.
Yeah.
Like, literally. And then she's like, get your hands out of your pockets. And he's like, oh, okay, like, sorry, you know. And that's all.
You're
that's
like,
all
you should be fucking sorry.
No, literally. And then, I don't know why she, like, made him get out of the car. Everything about that, like, stopped and everything didn't even make sense.
I was
like,
definitely, like, trying to get her fucking quota.
I know. And then he was, like, outside of the car for, like, just, like, a little bit. And then she was like, oh, you can get back in the car. And she's like, and you're allowed to, like, roll up the windows. Because it was cold in there. And, like, the window was down and stuff. And then, I don't know, we were probably there, like, 45 minutes. And then she was like, okay, like, yeah, well, this park actually closes at, like, 9 p.m. So, you know, you guys just, like, need to get off the property. And I was like,
why couldn't you say that from the beginning, bitch?
Exactly. I was like, why did you have to, like, figure out where we lived and our socials and, like, come on. Like,
yeah.
get out of it. And so then after that, like, he was like, okay, I'm gonna take you home. And I was like, please do. Because
Yeah.
it was like 1:30, I think, at this point. And then he was like, oh, were you scared? And I was like, I don't have anything to be scared about. Like, why would I be scared? Like, I don't have anything to hide. And I was like, were you? And he's like, well, yeah, honestly. He's like, because I thought she was gonna, like, pat me down. He's like, and I have weed in my, like, jacket or something like that.
Oh my god.
And I was like, why the heck would you bring weed? Because I didn't smoke, like, back then.
Yeah.
Or anything. And, like, he knew that. Like, I drank, obviously, but, like, I wouldn't drink, like, just kind of, like, getting dinner and stuff. I only, like, drank when I went out, like, to the clubs and everything.
Yeah.
Or, like, house parties. So I was just like, why would you bring weed? Like, did you think you were just gonna, like, smoke it, like, on this, like, date or so? Like, even if you could call it that?
Yeah.
And I just, like, was thinking, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this white man doesn't have any clue, like, what that could have done, like, to me or any black person.
Exactly.
And the funny thing was is that he went to Howard. So I'm like, you're around black people all the time.
Like, do better.
Exactly. So I kind of just, that was, like, realization for me, like, you just gotta be careful with, like, who you're around and stuff. And, like, who you even know, because I'm like, obviously I didn't know him. But that situation could have been, like, really bad if, like, she wanted to just really, like, go in on us, if she wanted to do the whole pat down and all that. Like, she could have charged him with possession since weed wasn't legal back then.
Exactly.
So it was just, like, a whole thing, and I never saw him again.
Yeah.
So that was that. Like, that was my first ever date.
That was your first date, bitch, and then that was the first date that she ever went on, guys.
And I continued to go on more. I don't know why.
Which was crazy. No, which was crazy because I would have been like, yeah, I'm good on it.
Yeah.
Traumatized.
And that was, like, the first time I've ever, like, I didn't really talk to her since, like, I didn't have the car or anything, but, like, that was my first time, like, interacting with, like, a cop, because I've never had to, like, I've never gotten pulled over, a speeding ticket. I also didn't drive back then. So, yeah, I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like, is this going to be, like, on the news?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I need to know. And I was like, and Chloe just called asking if I was okay. I was like, and now this happens. Like, bro.
Yeah.
It was, like, it was crazy. It was scary. And I remember I called, like, my older brother. I don't know if I called him that night because he's 3 hours ahead, but I definitely called him, like, the next day. And I told him, and he's like, well, they can't do anything with your socials. And he's like, you know, next time just say no. And I was like, okay, coming from another white male.
Right.
No, I can't do that. And, like, he kind of, like, didn't get it at first. And then, like, after I was, like, talking to him for a minute, you know, then he was like, oh, he's like, I understand. Like, he's like, I guess it's better to just comply, like, than, you know, potentially give them a reason to, like, be more upset or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you're like, I don't have the privilege to just...
I know. Oh my gosh. I wonder what that's like.
Right. 2020 was, like, a big time, obviously, in means of that. And I think for us, it was a time of reflection because we have, like, the unique experience of obviously, like, having, like, being black and feeling like a minority in a predominantly white, you know, suburban, like, community, but also, like, feeling like a minority even in our black community. Whereas because we were adopted by white people and raised by white people, back then it was like growing up, we were kind of viewed as like whitewashed, you know? And so we have that like really unique experience of kind of like feeling lost because you don't feel like you belong with any community. And I think that's why it was like also very special to have like our friendship, because like it's such a unique experience that like we understood each other about it perfectly. And 2020 was such a time of reflection to kind of reflect on a lot of things. And I think realizing that we did face actually so much like internalized racism and like face so much like microaggressions and like a lot of things, and especially you like growing up in the like dance world, like that's crazy, you know. And then also like us growing up in the church and like just a lot of different like communities where we did face that, like realizing that like those microaggressions kind of rooted deep inside us too. Because like for me, guys, an example is whenever I was in junior high, I was for a long time in a very predominantly white suburban neighborhood, and so moving out of white suburbia and then moving to a neighborhood that was more like a melting pot. I went to a school and there was a lot of different like cultures and backgrounds and races and ethnicities at that school. but I still felt like kind of ostracized from like all parts of the community. Like the groups of black kids who would call me like a walking Oreo because I was black on the outside but white on the inside, and I like would laugh it off. But it took me like a long time to like realize like, well, one, like that just hurt my feelings period back then too, but I would be like, yeah, it's so funny to look back and be like, yo, that like messed with my psyche, you know? And it's something that we face like a lot, and I think that experience being, especially like with cops, a lot of people like don't realize like the fear that comes with that. And so just especially that's your first date, you're with someone, one, who's white, but like also a person you don't know, you're not comfortable with, the amount of anxiety, bitch, that you probably felt in that moment, I couldn't even fathom. And so I know what like my experience like being pulled over by a cop was like, so like I could only imagine like yours. You're in the middle of fucking nowhere basically in fucking bumfuck Oklahoma, like, you know, like I would be scared as fuck, bitch, like I would be scared. So the fact that like you could remain so calm in that situation, like props to you, but I know that like fucking messed with your psyche too. So
yeah, I think it's just also like so hard, and I don't think we really realize this like growing up. I think we probably realized this like once we kind of became adults and more like had our own thoughts, and when we kind of started making decisions for ourselves.
We were also really protected, I think, from the realities, the harsh realities. Yes. So we were very ignorant to that.
I feel like my mom, because like she loves like black culture and like artists and stuff, so it's like I knew things like that because of her, but also she has like white fragility. So I think a lot of times like just being able to talk to her about like different hairstyles, the box braids.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Emma, people in Mexico do box braids. Like the girls there, they braid your hair like in box braids. Isn't that like why? Like there's so many more important things like in the world that we could be discussing than like this kind of. And it's like I understand that, but this is also a part of like our identity that we feel like is being stripped and it's not respected.
Yeah.
And I remember there was just like my mom and I, we had like so many discussions about cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation.
Yes.
And there was like even times,
I said yes. Fucking retweet. Yes.
Yes. And like there was times even like talking to her about different hairstyles or bonnets and head wraps, and then her kind of like using this like as an argument. Well, what about like, you know, people going to weddings and wearing it? I'm like, but that's appreciation because you're supposed to do that in that culture. But I'm like, that is not America's culture to be in dashikis, like, and white people being in box braids. Like, okay, that is not the culture. And it's like even like a lot of like American black people don't wear dashikis because that's African. So it's like even just like realizing like those different subtleties that I feel like America tries to take away from black people, but also like African people as well. I think it's something that like needs to be talked about because I wouldn't wear a dashiki. We don't have that like, in our culture like necessarily, but it's like if we were in like a black space, it's more than acceptable for us to do so since we are still black people. You know, and we obviously did come from Africa. Like, you know, way back when and stuff. So I think like still talking about or having those conversations like with people, because at the end of the day, hair is hair. Obviously there are more pressing issues that we can be talking about in a sense. Like I understand like the argument to a certain extent, but also it's like just why not do it? Like it doesn't even need to be an argument. I feel like if someone like of color is telling you, hey, this is like offensive and like you shouldn't do that, regardless of your opinions, you should just respect it.
Like why are you arguing with what like is my truth?
Like if you know, we went around like with a bun and chopsticks in our hair and an Asian person was like, hey, like I kind of find that like offensive, like what is the point in that? I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm not doing that again. I'd be embarrassed.
And like too, I understand like what you're saying with the whole like people being like at the end of the day it's just hair, but it's like honestly like no, it's more than that. Like it's our history, it's our culture, it's our like gifts from our ancestors, it's our culture, it's our so much history comes like from our hair, and there's so much like black love and black appreciation and black like struggle that comes with like our hair. And I think our hair is such a sensitive topic and it's an important topic to discuss, and I think it needs to be more like like acknowledged, because like white people just do not have like, I think they're understanding it more now, but like still it's crazy to me the amount of white people who like just say the craziest things to me, like even at work and my job, because like I work in a more like popping like white hub, I think. So like a lot of my patients, like a majority of my patients that come in are just like white people, and they just like will say some crazy things to me, like about my hair, just like things that are just kind of like, okay, like I get that you're like trying to be like nice about it, but like you're being like inappropriate in your comment, like, you know. And it's just like, that is white privilege, is to like be ignorant to the fact that like what you're saying is inappropriate. Like they just don't even understand it. And that's why I think it needs to be talked about more, and I think it's why you need to educate yourself more on it, because like you don't understand, like, yeah, you could be like, oh well, I'm complimenting you when I'm saying this. It's like, yeah, you are, but also it's like, that's a microaggression what you're saying right now, you know. Or to be like, oh, I wish that I could just like get my hair like that. Like, what do you mean? Like what do you literally mean? Like, they don't understand that the comments are just so inappropriate that they say sometimes. The privilege to not even have to think twice about like reaching for a black person's hair and touching it and all that kind of stuff, and understanding like the inappropriate and like the intense like disrespect that is, you know.
I feel like it's so weird because I don't think my mom ever had to teach me to not touch people's hair. I don't think that was like ever a conversation she had to like sit down with me and say like, oh, so Rebecca's mom told me that you touched her hair. That's not okay. And I'm just kind of like, why would you want to touch someone's hair? Like, that is so weird to me. Like, to just reach out and touch it. Like, I'm not gonna say that some like hairstyles like aren't cool, or some people's hair looks super soft and like super sleeky. I can admire it from a distance. I don't need to be running my hands through their hair to feel what I'm seeing. And I just think that like people just need to like educate their children and just say like, hey, like, and everyone regardless, like it doesn't even need to be like, we're not going to touch black people's hair. Like, we're just not touching anyone's hair.
Yeah, we should not touch anyone without consent.
Yeah, like,
fucking weirdo.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like those conversations like need to be had, because then a lot of these like weird microaggressions that people just do, and these borderline just like assaults of people.
No, it is assault. It's literally like, why do you think that you're entitled to like my personal space? That's my boundary, and you think you're just entitled to like infiltrate it? Fuck out of my face. Back up.
Did you get what you wanted to out of touching my hair for 2 seconds? Like, was it everything you hoped and dreamed it would be? Like,
yeah, like, do you feel proud of yourself that I'm uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel proud and happy that like you got to do what you want at my expense?
No, I think it's like so like interesting, because in like different relationships that I've been in, I feel like, you know how you were saying like, okay, bare minimum, like, yes, but people don't do the bare minimum anymore.
Oh no, absolutely.
Like, it's so hard for people, I feel like, to just have like normal like
common sense
and even like deep ones, because I feel like a lot of people don't have the conversation of like, hey, what's your love language?
Right.
And I feel like everyone kind of knows like, okay, there's the physical touch, and then there's the words of affirmation and stuff, but like knowing like how you show love,
yes,
and then how you also like to receive it,
it's
those are like
two different conversations.
People, yeah, but like a lot of times they're different.
Yeah,
like, and you can be like, oh, I love gifts, and you know, I love words of affirmation, but I show it through acts of service and physical touch, you know. And then I think that's good for like your partner to like know, so they know like how to show you that they obviously love you and care about you as well.
Absolutely.
A really good like kind of foundation to set.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's important to have that be like one of the first conversations that you have with a potential partner.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, everyone was like doing the quizzes and stuff, and it was, I feel like in a sense, like in our generation, it was kind of just like all fun and games, you know, kind of like, okay, there's just gonna be physical touch because they're a guy, and you know, this and that. But it's like a lot of, I think like words of affirmation is something that like a lot of people love to receive. I think that's just also like letting them know that their partner sees like what they're doing and like what they're accomplishing like in life and just in every day.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that that's like something that like a lot of people like do enjoy and like kind of crave in a sense. Like, hey, you're doing a good job. Like,
yeah. What are your like your top love languages? Like what you like to give versus what you like to receive.
Okay, so what I like to give, I think it's acts of service.
Yeah.
And then I think it's also gifts.
Yeah.
I love like giving gifts and stuff. And then what I like to receive is, oh yeah, quality time.
Yeah, you love to receive quality time. Yes, you do.
Love the quality time. And then I kind of also like gifts. It doesn't obviously have to be like anything crazy.
I feel like we talked about a lot of good stuff.
Guys, we're literally so we're filming though also in Michigan, right? With Chloe.
Yes.
Segue into our Islanders show.
Yes, it will. We're gonna do a pod episode because before this you're gonna get Emma's episode, and then you guys are also gonna get Chloe's episode too. Then yeah, whenever we all meet up in Michigan, we're gonna film an Islanders pod, and it's gonna break the internet, so I'm so excited.
And then I'll do like little snippets on TikTok,
and we're just gonna take the internet by storm. We're gonna be household names, and the rest is history.
Oh my gosh, I feel like it's so fun, like just having like a TV show. But I feel like I would like whoever the producers are and stuff. I'm like, we're not doing scripted stuff because we don't need that.
Yes,
our lives are crazy already.
Life's a movie. It's been a movie our whole life.
No, literally.
The book will be great, and the movie will be even better. But anyways, we talked about a lot of stuff in this episode. And we're gonna have a show one day and it'll be crazy. For now, they'll enjoy the podcast episode. Who knows? But before we spiral and get on too many more tangents, let's just wrap up this episode. Thank you, Emma, for coming on to the pod. Thank you for opening up and sharing some fun stories with us. Definitely want you to come back on the pod because you know that we got some crazy fucking stories to share. And I want to do a deep dive into some of our misadventures. Like, I definitely do. Like, it will be fun. Oh, and I just, and I'm really thankful to have you in my life and to have your friendship for all of these decades has been amazing for many more decades to come, and I'm really excited to see you soon, and we're gonna kiki up in Michigan.
I know, I'm so happy that I got to film this podcast with you finally, and our trip to Michigan is going to be insane. You guys will be in for a great show. You guys grab your popcorn, okay, grab your wine,
yes,
or your beer, or your seltzer. Okay?
Exactly, whatever it is.
Get comfortable because we got a lot to share.
Absolutely. So Emma, let the listeners know. I know that you be doing your shit on social media, so let the listeners know where they can find you.
So my Instagram is Emma_Hemsley, and then my nurse Instagram is Emma_in_scrubs, and then my TikTok is just Emma Hemsley. I think that's it. Follow me, say hi. I'll most likely follow you back unless you're a weirdo.
I'm fucking dead. Definitely check her out on Instagram and on TikTok and follow along. And I know that she's gonna do her shit. So definitely, I'll have everything linked in the show notes below. Make sure that you check her out and you follow her and you give her support and love, especially on that nursing page. I know that she's gonna do some beautiful stuff in the medical world. So I'm really excited for you, and I'm always rooting for you, girl.
Thank you so much. Rooting for you too, girl.
Proud of you.
Women in STEM.
Period. Yes, I love it. We're going to wrap it up. I just want to say, if you want to support this podcast, please don't forget to rate it 5 stars. That not only lets me know that you enjoy listening to the podcast, but it also boosts the podcast so that I have the potential to reach a wider audience. And it also lets me know that you enjoy listening, which I really appreciate all the feedback and love and support that I've been getting. So thank you to everybody. If you want to follow the podcast on its journey, you can follow us. We're just at Stirring the Plot Pod on all social media platforms. If you want to follow me on my personal journey, I'm just at Dayna J Francois on all social media platforms. And I guess with that being said, if you liked listening, make sure that you subscribe to my podcast and tune in weekly, because I'm gay, I'm hot, and if there's one thing about me, I'm gonna stir the plot. Woo! Thank you, Emma, for coming.
Thank you. Bye, guys.